Content aware scaling. Content aware scaling. So what about content aware scaling? Resize images and protect content. How to resize images and protect content. Content aware scale resizes an image without changing important visual content such as people and buildings and animals and so forth. And while normal scaling affects all pixels uniformly, and when resizing an image, and content aware scaling mostly affects pixels in areas that don't have important visual content. And content aware scale lets you upscale or downscale images to improve a composition and fit a layout or change the orientation. And if you want to use some normal scaling when resizing your image, there is an option, by the way, for specifying a ratio of content aware scaling to normal scaling. And if you want to preserve specific areas when scaling an image, content aware scale lets you use an alpha channel to protect content during resizing. And content aware scaling works on layers and selections, and images can be in RGB and CMYK, lab and grayscale color modes, as well as all bytes deeps. And content aware scaling doesn't work, by the way, on adjustment layers and layer masks and individual channels and smart objects and 3D layers and video layers and multiple layers and simultaneously or layer groups. Like this screenshot now. This image now explain for you the original image and scaled narrower and using content aware scaling. So what about preserve visual content when scaling images? Preserve visual content when scaling images. We have steps. Step number 1. Choose select, then choose all if you are scaling a background layer. Step number 2. You have to choose edit, then choose content aware scale. Number 3. Specify any of the following in the options bar. Reference point location. It's meaning that click a square on the reference point locator to specify the fixed point around which the image is scaled. And by default this point is at the center of the image. And use relative positioning for reference point. It's meaning that you should click the button to specify the new position of the reference point in the relation to its current position. And reference point position is meaning positions in the reference point at the specific location and enter x-axis and y-axis pixel dimensions. So what about scaling percentage? Scaling percentage is meaning specifies the image scaling as a percentage of the original size and enter a percentage for the width and height if desired, and then click maintain and aspect ratio. So what's the meaning of amount? Amount is meaning that it specifies the ratio of content aware scaling to normal scaling and specify a percentage for content aware scaling by typing in the text box or clicking the arrow and moving the slider. So what about protect? Protect is meaning chooses an alpha channel that specifies an area to protect. And protect skin tones is meaning attempts to preserve regions that contain skin tones. Step number 4. Drag a handle on the bounding box to scale the image. You should press shift as you drag a corner handle to scale proportionality, and when positioned over a handle, the pointer becomes a double arrow. Step number 5. You should click either cancel transform or commit transform. So what about specify content to protect when scaling? Specify content to protect when scaling. We have steps. Step number 1. You should to make a selection around the content you want to protect, and then in the channels panel you should to click save selections as a channel. And step number 2. It should select, then it choose all if you are scaling a background layer. And step number 3. You should to choose edit, then choose content aware scale. Step number 4. In the options bar, you should choose the alpha channel you created. Step number 5. You should drag a handle on the bounding border to scale the image.